Quick little note. If you want to be an absolute savage when it comes to business and providing value to people in general, then I highly recommend learning how to use Excel. I promise you, it is one of the highest leverage things that you can learn how to do. And by the way, I am not an expert at Excel. I started learning Excel 3 years ago. And it has completely changed my life. The reason is that it allows you to express ideas in a way that is concrete. It's like it's like being able to do math in a way, but also being able to use numbers to tell a story. And so the thing that I've used Excel to do over and over again is to just have a place where I can create scenarios so that I can essentially project out into the future. And I started learning Excel when I was working with this investment broker that I was working with. And my mentor was like very adamant about, hey, you should learn Excel and you need to learn Python. You need to learn how to code. And this 63-year-old man, by the way, said, you need to learn how to use ChatGPT. This was 3 years ago. So it was like right as it started to become a big thing. But at the same time, like right as that happened, he was like, you need to be using ChatGPT. 63-year-old man. He's the one who put me on to ChatGPT. Anyways, so now utilizing the skill of Excel alongside of ChatGPT is super duper powerful because now for someone like me who's not actually good at Excel, I can tell ChatGPT what I want it to do or what it is that I'm trying to create on an Excel sheet, and it can give me some really good ideas of how to do it. Now, I still need to know how to make it actually work because trust me, it's not at the point where it can just give you an Excel sheet with exactly what you're looking for. But once again, just being able to play with this stuff is absolutely massive. Let's see if I can get some focus. So right here, what I'm building out is a spreadsheet that can help someone upload their assets. And it could be whatever technically, but this is specifically for people who are playing around with DeFi. So what you can do is you can tell it what asset you have, right? And then I can tell it how many of those assets that I actually have. It'll automatically, also I put up the asset price, and then it'll calculate my USD value. I can add what APY I'm earning it at, right? So this is if I were staking my assets. And then it'll tell me my daily earnings, my daily earnings in the token itself that I'm earning, also the daily earnings in dollar amounts, the monthly earnings, the yearly earnings, and the total 5-year earnings. And on top of that, I created a summary page where I could look at how this compounds over time while taking into consideration the compounded annual growth rate of the token itself, right? So if you're earning yield on a volatile asset and that asset goes up in price, right, which over time, so far, cryptocurrencies have gone up in price, then you're also going to get gains in terms of the actual raise in the price. So I'm earning yield, right, at 3%, imagine, on my Ethereum, but I'm earning that in Ethereum. And because of that, if the price of Ethereum goes up by a compounded annual growth rate of 15%, then I'm actually gaining massively in terms of my US dollar amount. So anyways, this spreadsheet actually helps me to calculate that and project out into the future what would be my total portfolio, compounded annual growth rate, and how much would my portfolio be worth after 10 years. Anyways, all of that was a little bit extra. But the point is that being able to create an asset like this that anyone can plug into and create these scenarios and start to look at the math of their portfolio is just so powerful, and for many different reasons. But anyways, I just wanted to show you guys something that I was cooking up on and how important it can be for someone who's in business or in finance to be able to use these types of spreadsheets, because then you can then take a process like this and you can delegate this to someone else as far as creating projections. Because now it's like, hey, I have this formula or this standard format for looking at projections out into the future. And I want you as my employee or someone who I'm working with, whatever, to use this to actually come up with different types of scenarios and tell me what you think may be the most likely, or so on and so forth. And so that's just one way of using Excel. But in general, this is a great way to be able to tell a story, because now I can show people the power of what they can do with digital assets, and they can just come in and plug in and use this without me having to be there. In a sense, this goes back to one of the things that we talked about earlier around how to use technology as leverage, right? A spreadsheet that has all of these macros, and well, not macros, but these formulas built into it, that right there is that's using technology as leverage. And this is something that can tell an amazing story for someone who wants to figure out what their portfolio could look like in the future. So anyways, I'm not doing this to brag, by the way, because I am not good at Excel. I want to be very clear. There's people who are watching this that are saying, dude, what do you like? This is stupid. But at the end of the day, like just playing around with it and starting to figure out like how to make these formulas talk to one another. Like you don't have to be an expert at this stuff, but once you start to play around with it and you can see how you can actually use it in your life, like that's what I did. By the way, the first one of these that I did was literally just looking at my diet. Was one of the first ever spreadsheets that I did. Was like, what is my daily calorie intake? And so I would put all the food that I had in there. I kind of just want to pull it up low key, because this is one of my favorite applications of it that I've ever done. Because it's just helpful in every aspect of your life. Like there's tons of apps that do this, by the way, but I wanted something that was custom to me and that would allow me to be able to do this. So check this out. Okay. So super basic stuff, guys. Like I'm not some Excel genius. I just wanted to share this because like this is something you can use in every aspect of your life. Okay. So I was trying to check my calories on a daily basis. So what did I do? I put what is the food that I'm actually eating? What's the calories in each portion of that food? How many portions am I eating? And then that's going to spit out my total calories for each thing that I've eaten for the day. And then I've got the total number of calories down here in the corner. Awesome. And then another thing that I did was like looking at the percent makeup. So how much of my total calorie intake is each of these things that I'm eating throughout the day. And that's just the calories. But then there's the actual like macros themselves. So the carbs, the fat, and the protein that I'm getting from each food, right? So I just made a very simple spreadsheet where I did all this. And okay, so now I've got the calories as well. I've got the multiplier, meaning how many servings of all of these different things that I'm eating. I've got something for the protein densities. So just taking how much protein for out of the calories that I'm putting into my body. And then at the bottom, the totals of everything that I'm taking in on a daily basis so that I can try to hit my fitness goals. And then, some of the targets down here. So anyways, guys, just saying that I really think that it's a great skill to have to be able to use Excel. Once again, I am not like some Excel guy. People are going to look at this and start laughing at me and being like, dude, you're really not on it. So just know that. But just playing around with it, even if it's just to like look at your portfolio and see where all your holdings are. I use this to track my credit and all of the things that I'm doing with that. So anyways, that's it. Peace.